Hey everyone, Elizabeth here. The Last Laugh delivers stories that leave you speechless. If you're here for it, hit subscribe and let's go.
The text message from my sister Emma arrived on a Tuesday morning, 3 weeks before her graduation from the prestigious Anderson School of Business. I was in my office on the 42nd floor, reviewing quarterly reports when my phone buzzed. Hey, so about graduation, family seating is really limited this year. Your presence might cause discomfort. Maybe it's better if you skip it? We can celebrate another time. Before I could process that, Dad's text followed 30 seconds later. Your sister worked very hard for this degree. Your cousin Rachel's husband is an orthopedic surgeon. Several of Emma's classmates come from prominent families. We'd hate for things to be awkward. I stared at those messages for a long moment. Then I set my phone down, returned to my financial reports and said nothing. Not a single word. This wasn't new. This was the pattern that had defined my entire relationship with my family for the past 12 years. I was the embarrassment, the disappointment, the one who never amounted to anything. It started when I was 22, fresh out of college with my communications degree. While my younger sister Emma enrolled in a prestigious MBA program and my brother Marcus pursued law school, I took a job as an administrative assistant at a small tech startup. An assistant? Mom had said at Sunday dinner, her voice dripping with barely concealed mortification. After we paid for 4 years at a private university? It's a good company, I'd replied quietly. I think they're going places. Dad shook his head. Emma is getting her MBA from Anderson. Marcus is at Yale Law. And you're answering phones. That was 12 years ago. In those 12 years, several things happened. The tech startup I joined as an assistant became one of the most successful software companies in the nation. I rose from assistant to project manager to VP of operations to, eventually, chief operating officer with a compensation package that included substantial equity. I diversified. I invested. I built. And I watched my family struggle again and again, while pretending they had everything under control. Emma's MBA program cost $140,000. She graduated 6 years ago with honors and immediately started a boutique consulting firm that, despite her confidence, barely broke even most quarters. What Emma didn't know, I was her largest client. Through a shell corporation, I funneled $180,000 in consulting contracts over those 6 years. Projects that didn't need to exist. Reports I never read. All to keep her business afloat while she told everyone how successful she was. Marcus finished law school with $220,000 in debt. He joined a mid-size firm and married Stephanie, a woman who came from money and had expectations that matched. What Marcus didn't know, when his student loans mysteriously got paid off 3 years ago through an anonymous donor program, that was me. All $167,000 that remained. I watched him celebrate with Stephanie, talking about their lucky break, while I sat quietly at the family dinner, earning no credit. Mom and Dad's house, the 4-bedroom colonial they bought 30 years ago, nearly went into foreclosure 5 years ago when Dad's small accounting practice hit hard times. What they didn't know, I purchased the mortgage from the bank through an investment firm. For 5 years I've been their actual mortgage holder, and I never once called in the $3,100 monthly payment when they were late. Which was often. My cousin Rachel needed $45,000 for fertility treatments. Anonymous grant, the clinic told her. My aunt's medical bills after her accident, $38,000. Charity fund coverage. My uncle's business loan when the bank rejected him, $95,000 through a private investor. Over 12 years, I had quietly funneled $1.2 million to various family members, all while they treated me like the family failure. And then there was the university. Anderson University, where Emma got her MBA, where my parents got their degrees, where my grandparents met in 1958, had been struggling financially for years. Budget cuts. Reduced scholarships. Declining enrollment. 8 years ago I established an anonymous endowment. The Harrison Family Education Fund, named after my mother's maiden name so no connection would be made to me. Initial contribution, $12 million. The fund had one purpose: to provide full scholarships to students from middle-class families who showed promise but couldn't afford the tuition. Students like I had been. Students who might otherwise be denied opportunities because of economics. Over 8 years, That fund had supported 43 students through graduation. It had kept the business school's doors open during budget crises. It had funded 3 new faculty positions and renovated the library. Emma had been one of the fund's beneficiaries. She received a $40,000 scholarship during her final year. Money that came directly from my endowment, though she'd never know it. She thought it was a competitive academic scholarship she'd earned on merit. She had earned it. But I had funded it. The university's president, Dr. Catherine Walsh, knew the truth. She was one of 3 people in the world who knew that the anonymous donor was actually Sarah Mitchell. The family embarrassment, the one who answered phones, the one they didn't want at graduations. When Emma's text arrived telling me to stay away, I sat in my office for 20 minutes, absolutely still. My assistant knocked. "Sarah? Your 2 o'clock is here." "Cancel it," I said quietly. "Cancel everything this afternoon." I called Dr. Walsh. "Catherine, it's Sarah Mitchell." "Sarah. How are you? I was just about to reach out. We're planning the graduation ceremony, and I wanted to coordinate the donor recognition." "I'll be attending," I said. There was a pause. "Of course. We always reserve seats for you, though I know you usually prefer to stay anonymous." "This year will be different," I said. "This year I want you to make the announcement public. Full recognition. Name, amount, everything." Another pause, longer this time. "Sarah, are you certain? You've been so private about this. What's changed?" I looked at Emma's text on my phone. "Your presence might cause discomfort." "It's time," I said simply. "It's time they knew." For 3 weeks I didn't respond to Emma's text. I didn't call my parents. I didn't acknowledge the message at all. Emma texted twice more. "Did you get my message about graduation?" Then a week later, "I'm taking your silence as agreement. Thanks for understanding." I said nothing. During those 3 weeks I did 3 things. First, I had my attorney prepare documentation. Every wire transfer. Every payment. Every scholarship, loan payoff, mortgage payment, and consulting contract. 12 years of financial support, itemized and time-stamped. Second, I coordinated with Dr. Walsh. The recognition would happen during the ceremony itself, before Emma walked across the stage. It would include video, photographs, a detailed history of the endowment's impact. Third, I bought a new dress. Something elegant. Something that commanded respect. If I was going to make them uncomfortable, I was going to do it properly. The graduation ceremony was held on a Saturday in May, on the university's historic main lawn. White chairs arranged in perfect rows. A stage with the university seal. Families gathering in their designated sections, dressed in their finest. I arrived 30 minutes before the ceremony began, walking across campus in my navy Armani dress and heels. My hair was professionally styled. I wore the diamond earrings I'd bought myself when my company went public, $30,000, but worth every penny for the confidence they gave me. The family seating section was cordoned off with small reserved signs. I found my seat, front row per Dr. Walsh's arrangement, and sat down. 5 minutes later my family arrived. Mom saw me first. Her face went through several expressions in rapid succession. Confusion, shock, displeasure. "Sarah," she said, her voice tight. "We didn't expect you." "The university sent me an invitation," I replied calmly. "It seemed important to attend." Dad's face reddened. "Emma specifically said." I know what Emma said. I kept my voice pleasant. "I chose to come anyway." Emma appeared then in her graduation regalia, having broken away from the processional line. She looked furious. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. "I told you. You told me my presence might cause discomfort," I said evenly. "You were right. But not in the way you think." Marcus arrived with Stephanie, both looking confused. "Sarah? I thought you weren't coming," Marcus said. "Change of plans." Emma's face was flushed. "This is my day. My achievement. And you're going to ruin it by what?" I asked. "Sitting quietly in a seat the university gave me? I haven't said a word to anyone. I'm just here to watch you graduate." "You don't belong here," Emma said, and there it was. The truth she'd been dancing around for years. "Emma, get back in line," Dad ordered. "We'll handle this." But before anyone could say anything else, the processional music began. Emma had no choice but to rush back to her place in line. My family sat down around me, radiating tension. Mom leaned over. "This is incredibly selfish, Sarah." I said nothing. The graduates filed in. The choir sang. The dean gave welcoming remarks. Then Dr. Catherine Walsh took the podium. "Before we begin conferring degrees," she said, her voice carrying across the lawn, "I want to take a moment to recognize someone whose generosity has transformed this institution and the lives of countless students." I felt my mother stiffen beside me. 8 years ago, Dr. Walsh continued, Anderson University received an extraordinary gift. An endowment of $12 million, established to provide scholarships to deserving students who might otherwise be unable to afford the quality education this university provides. On the large screens flanking the stage, images began to appear. Students in graduation caps. The renovated library. Faculty members teaching. This endowment, the Harrison Family Education Fund, has supported 43 students through graduation. It has funded critical programs, supported faculty positions, and ensured that financial circumstances would never prevent talented students from accessing education. My father's face had gone very still. For 8 years, this donor has remained anonymous, refusing all recognition, asking only that their gift continue to change lives. Dr. Walsh smiled. Today, for the first time, they have agreed to be recognized publicly. My mother's hand gripped her armrest. Ladies and gentlemen, graduates and families, please join me in thanking Sarah Mitchell, whose vision and generosity have made all of this possible. The spotlight swung to me. For 3 full seconds, absolute silence. Then the audience erupted in applause. I stood slowly, acknowledging the recognition with a small nod. On the screens, my name appeared alongside the endowment details. $12 million. 43 scholars. 8 years of impact. I sat back down. The applause continued for what felt like an eternity. I didn't look at my family. I didn't need to. I could feel their shock radiating like heat. When the applause finally died down, Dr. Walsh continued. Ms. Mitchell's generosity extends beyond this single endowment. Through various initiatives, she has supported faculty development, facility improvements, and student emergency funds. She has asked for nothing in return except the opportunity to invest in futures. More images on the screens. The business school where Emma studied. The library reading room. The scholarship award ceremonies. Among the students who have benefited from the Harrison Fund, Dr. Walsh said, and I knew what was coming, is today's graduation speaker, Emma Mitchell, who received a $40,000 scholarship during her final year of study. Emma's face, visible even from the family section, went absolutely white. Emma's success story embodies exactly what this fund was created to support: talented students given the opportunity to excel. We're grateful to both Mitchells for their contributions to this institution. The applause came again, but this time it was scattered, confused. People were beginning to understand the relationship. The sisters. One giving, one receiving. One celebrated, one dismissed. My mother's voice was barely a whisper. You funded Emma's scholarship? I kept my eyes forward. Among other things. The $12 million. Dad's voice trailed off. Is mine, I said simply. All of it. Marcus, sitting on my other side, had pulled out his phone. I could see him searching, his fingers moving frantically. Sarah Mitchell, so. He muttered. Net Dynamics Corporation. Equity stake valued at. His face drained of color. 47 million? Stephanie leaned over to look at his phone. Her eyes widened. You're the Sarah Mitchell? Stephanie breathed. The one on the Forbes list? I didn't confirm or deny. I just watched the stage as Dr. Walsh concluded her remarks and the degree conferral began. Marcus was still staring at his phone, scrolling. The tech startup. You were there from the beginning. When it went public. He looked at me. The student loan payoff 3 years ago. The anonymous donor program. Yes, I said quietly. That was you. Yes. All $167,000. Every penny. His hands were shaking. Why didn't you tell me? Would it have changed how you treated me? I asked. Would it have made you introduce me differently at your parties? Would it have made Dad stop being embarrassed by my job title? He had no answer. When it was time for the graduation speaker, Emma walked to the podium. She looked shaken, her prepared speech clutched in trembling hands. She began reading, her voice unsteady. A speech about perseverance, about overcoming obstacles, about succeeding through determination and hard work. But I could see her struggling with every word because now she knew. The scholarship that she'd thought was merit-based recognition had come from me. The sister she'd told to stay away. The embarrassment she didn't want at her ceremony. Halfway through her speech she stopped. Just stop talking. She looked at me in the audience. Our eyes met. She started then stopped again. Dr. Walsh stood slightly concerned. Emma gathered herself. I was going to talk about succeeding on your own merit, she said, her voice cracking. About not needing help. About being self-made. She looked down at her prepared remarks, then back at me. But that would be a lie, wouldn't it? Her voice was barely audible through the microphone. Because I had help. Help I didn't know about. Help I didn't acknowledge. Help I didn't deserve. The audience had gone completely silent. My sister. Emma's voice broke. My sister funded my education. And I told her not to come to my graduation. She started to cry. Dr. Walsh moved to help her off the stage, but Emma shook her head. She composed herself, wiping her eyes. I'm sorry, she said, looking directly at me. I'm so sorry. Then she walked off the stage without finishing her speech. The ceremony continued in stunned silence. The ceremony concluded in awkward tension. As families gathered for photos, mine stood in a tight cluster, everyone looking at me. We need to talk, Dad said. Privately. There's nothing private about this anymore, I replied. But yes, we should talk. We found a quiet spot under the elm trees, away from the crowds. Mom spoke first. Why didn't you tell us? All these years. Tell you what? I asked. That I was successful? That I wasn't actually a failure? I kept my voice calm. When would have been a good time? When you told people I was just an assistant? When you apologized to your friends for my career choices? When you stopped inviting me to family events because I was an embarrassment? We didn't, Dad started. You did, I said firmly. Constantly. For 12 years. Marcus was pale. The loan payoff. My mortgage help when Stephanie and I bought the house. That was you too, wasn't it? Yes. How much? He asked. Total. How much have you given this family? I pulled out my phone and opened the document my attorney had prepared. $1,200,000. Over 12 years. Scholarships, loan payoffs, mortgage assistance, business bailouts, medical bills, and various other family emergencies. The number hung in the air. The house, Dad said slowly. 5 years ago, when we almost lost it, the mortgage company said an investment firm bought the loan. My investment firm, I confirmed. I've been your mortgage holder for 5 years. You've been late on payments 47 times. I never once called it due. Mom sat down heavily on a nearby bench. Oh my God. Rachel's fertility treatments, I continued. Aunt Linda's medical bills. Uncle Tom's business loan. Cousin Sarah's college fund. All me. But why? Emma asked, joining us, still in her graduation regalia. Her face was blotchy from crying. Why help us when we treated you so badly? Because you're my family, I said simply. Because I loved you. Because I kept hoping that maybe, someday, you'd see me for who I actually was instead of who you decided I was. Stephanie, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. The consulting contracts. Emma, your biggest client for the past 6 years. The corporation that paid you nearly $200,000. Emma's eyes widened. No. I nodded. Shell Corporation. All me. Your business was struggling. I kept it afloat. But I thought I was successful, Emma whispered. I thought I was building something real. You were, I said. You are. The work you did was good. The business has potential. But yes, I subsidized it. The same way I subsidized Marcus's lifestyle and Mom and Dad's mortgage and everyone else's emergencies. Stop, Emma said. Please stop. But I couldn't stop. Not now. 12 years of silence was ending. Do you know what it's like, I said, my voice still calm but with an edge now, to watch your family struggle and know you could help them, but also know that they'll never ask you because they think you have nothing to offer? To sit at Sunday dinners and listen to conversations about money problems while you have millions in the bank that you can't mention because you're supposed to be the failure. We didn't know, Mom tried. You didn't want to know, I corrected. You decided who I was when I was 22 and nothing I did after that mattered. Every success I had, you dismissed. Every achievement you ignored. I could have told you 100 times that I was doing well, but you wouldn't have believed me because it didn't fit your narrative. Marcus pulled out his phone again. Net Dynamics Corporation. You're listed as CEO. The company is valued at $600 million, I said. My equity stake is 8%. Plus salary, plus bonuses, plus other investments. Your consulting firm, Emma, I continued. You think you have 12 clients. You actually have 6. The other 6 are all entities I control. 51% of your revenue comes from me. Emma made a small sound, almost a whimper. Marcus, the law firm partner track you're on. The managing partner who's been mentoring you. You know how you got his attention 3 years ago? Marcus shook his head slowly. I had dinner with him. We sit on the same charity board. I mentioned you casually. He owed me a favor. I shrugged. You did the rest. You're talented. But I opened the door. Stop, Marcus said. Please. The country club membership. I looked at Dad. The one you told people you'd earned through your accounting practice success. You're 3 months behind on dues. They were going to revoke it. I paid the arrears. $18,000. Dad's face was gray. Mom's book club trip to Italy last year. The one you said you'd been saving for. Your savings account was empty. You put it on a credit card. I transferred money to cover it. You thought it was a tax refund. It wasn't. How do you know all this? Mom asked. Because when you own someone's mortgage, you can see their financial activity. Because when you fund someone's business, you have access to their accounts. Because I've been watching quietly for 12 years, making sure none of you lost everything. Emma sank to the ground, sitting right there on the grass in her graduation regalia. I called you a failure, she said. At Christmas I told my friends you were between jobs. I was embarrassed by you. I know. And the whole time you were. She gestured helplessly. You were this. Successful. Wealthy. Generous. And I told you not to come to my graduation because you might cause discomfort. Yes. The discomfort I was worried about was you. But the real discomfort should have been me. Looking at you and realizing I've been a terrible person. I didn't disagree. Marcus sat down next to Emma. The wedding toast I gave when you were my best man. I made a joke about you finally wearing a nice suit. Said it was probably rented. I remember. That suit probably cost more than my entire wedding, didn't it? $3,000, I confirmed. But who's counting? He laughed, but it was hollow. I'm such an idiot. You're not an idiot, I said. You're just someone who made assumptions. You all did. Dad stood up. So what happens now? You've exposed us. Made us look like fools. Is this revenge? And there was the deflection. The refusal to take responsibility. No, Dad, I said, my voice hardening. This is me finally being seen. For 12 years I let you define me. I let you tell me who I was and what I was worth. I funded your lives while you dismissed mine. And I did it quietly because I thought maybe love was enough. But today, I continued, when Emma told me to stay away because my presence might cause discomfort at an event that I literally funded, I realized something. I realized that I was never going to be good enough for you. Not because I wasn't successful, but because you needed me to be the failure. That's not fair, Mom started. Isn't it? I asked. When was the last time any of you asked about my life? My work? My achievements? When was the last time you celebrated something I did? Silence. I can tell you when, I said. Never. Not once in 12 years. I pulled out the folder my attorney had prepared. This, I said, is documentation of every dollar I've given this family. Every wire transfer, every payment, every scholarship, every bailout. It totals $1,200,000. I handed copies to each of them. I'm not asking for it back, I continued. Consider it a gift. My final contribution to this family. Final? Mom asked. As of today, all support ends. Emma, your consulting contracts are terminated. Marcus, I'll inform the managing partner that my recommendation no longer stands. Mom, Dad, your mortgage reverts to standard terms. You'll need to make your payments on time or face foreclosure. Sarah, Dad started. The country club? You're on your own. The credit cards I've been paying down? Your responsibility now. Every safety net I provided for 12 years? Gone. Emma was crying again. Please don't. I'll continue the university endowment, I said. Because those students deserve opportunities. But as for this family, you're now responsible for your own lives. The way you always thought you were but never actually were. I picked up my bag. Where are you going? Mom asked. Away, I said simply. I have a life to live. A life that doesn't revolve around people who are ashamed of me. We're not ashamed, Dad tried. You told me not to come to my sister's graduation, I said, looking at Emma. Because my presence might cause discomfort. What else would you call that? Emma had no answer. I started walking away. Sarah, wait, Marcus called. Can we fix this? I turned back. I don't know, Marcus. Can you? Can any of you look at me and see me instead of your idea of me? We can try, he said quietly. Then try, I said. But I'm done funding your lives while you disrespect mine. I'm done being invisible. If you want a relationship with me, it starts with seeing me. Really seeing me. I walked away across the graduation lawn, leaving my family standing there with their copies of financial documentation, finally understanding exactly who I was. My phone buzzed. Dr. Walsh. Sarah, are you all right? I'm fine, Catherine. Thank you for today. Of course. For what it's worth, I've always seen you. The real you. I smiled. I know. That's why I said yes when you asked me to be on the board of trustees. Pause. I didn't ask you yet. You were going to, I said. Tomorrow. She laughed. How did you know? Because I pay attention, I said. It's what I do. 6 months after Emma's graduation, my life looked different. I'd moved into a new penthouse downtown. I'd accepted the position on Anderson University's board of trustees. I'd launched a venture capital fund for women-owned startups. I'd been featured in Forbes, Fortune, and Business Insider. I'd stopped hiding. As for my family, it was complicated. Emma's business struggled for 3 months after I pulled my contracts. She'd been forced to reevaluate, restructure, and build real client relationships. It was hard, but it was real. She called me 4 months after graduation. I almost lost everything, she said. The business almost collapsed. I know. But I didn't let it. I fought. I worked. I built something real. Something that's actually mine. I'm proud of you, I said. Are you really? Yes. Because now it's real. Now when you succeed, it's because of you. Can we have coffee? She asked. Really talk? Just sisters. I'd like that, I said. We met the following week. It was awkward. There were tears. There were hard truths. But it was a beginning. Marcus reached out too. He sent an email. The managing partner called me in. Said your recommendation had been withdrawn. Said I'd need to prove myself on my own merit. I was angry at first. Then I realized you'd been carrying me. I made junior partner last month. On my own. Feels real. Thank you. And I'm sorry. We met for lunch. We talked about real things. It wasn't fixed. But it was honest. Mom and Dad took the longest. They struggled with the mortgage payments. The country club membership lapsed. They had to downsize significantly. Dad called 6 months after graduation. We need to talk about the house. What about it? We can't make the payments. We need to sell. Hey, I said. Okay. That's it. What do you want me to say, Dad? That I'll start paying again? I won't. I know, he said quietly. I'm not asking you to. I'm calling because I need to tell you something. I waited. I was wrong about you, he said. From the beginning. I saw what I wanted to see and I missed who you actually were. I'm sorry. For every dismissive comment, every embarrassed excuse, every time I made you feel less than. My throat tightened. Thank you. Will you come to Sunday dinner? No expectations. No pretending. Just family. Maybe, I said. Someday. But not yet. I understand, he said. Whenever you're ready. I'm not sure how this story ends yet. Maybe families like mine don't get neat, happy endings. Maybe we get honest ones instead. I know this. I'm no longer invisible. I'm no longer the failure they needed me to be. I'm Sarah Mitchell. I'm the COO of a successful corporation. I'm a philanthropist who's changed lives through education funding. I'm a venture capitalist helping women build businesses. And I'm the person who taught my family an expensive lesson. You can't judge someone's worth by your own limited understanding of success. The university graduation where my $12 million endowment was announced was 6 months ago. The image of Emma telling me to stay away, followed by the revelation that I'd funded her education, has become something of a viral story. People recognize me now. They know the story. But the story isn't about revenge. It's not even about vindication. It's about visibility. For 12 years I was invisible to my family. Now I'm not. And whether we rebuild our relationships or not, at least now they see me. The real me. And that, finally being seen, is worth more than $12 million. Though I'll be honest, announcing it at Emma's graduation while she stood on that stage, realizing that the sister she'd dismissed had funded everything, that part felt pretty good too.